You guys probably just didn't really see this coming.
It's honestly time to address the elephant. And
it's a long time coming. It's been a long time since we've been on here, so.
I'm really sorry, guys. Like, I don't know
sorry.
what else to...
There's nothing we can do about this. So.
It's just time to move on and...
It's time to talk about this.
Wake up and smile, cause it's been a while. It's been like a whole day since I stopped. So you could hold me, this child away.
This is not working, babe.
Strong in the faith.
Fine, then you're doing
Lord, you are the refuge
We're going.
that I can't wait to get to, cause I can't let a day go. Can't let a day go by without thanking you for
No,
the
I'm
joy
not
that
putting
you bring
that in.
my life. And ooh, there's something about the way your sun shines on my face. It's a love so true, I can never get enough of you. This feeling can't be wrong. I'm about to get my worship on. Take me away. It's a beautiful day. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a beautiful day. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Gotcha!
You didn't see this one coming.
Oh my gosh, we
So,
gotcha.
we talked a little bit about the end of an era. So Sammy's gonna dive right into what that means and kind of what we want to start doing with our lives, start doing with this channel a little bit more. So have it, Sammy.
Yeah, so we like classically clickbaited you. If you don't know what that means, it's basically like we faked you out. Like we're trying to joke with you a little bit because it's been forever.
It'd be like posting a video with the title like
We're breaking up.
we're breaking up, and then it's like, haha, got
Psych.
you. We're
Anyway.
just getting married.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. So
Sammy
we
and I are not getting married.
we are not getting married, I promise. But we just want to play around with you guys a little bit just because it's been forever. But basically the end of the era that we're like sort of ending is the era of being unintentional. And so this video is all about being intentional and what that means in our day-to-day lives and in this channel. So I want to start out with why being intentional is important. And so basically being intentional really determines the course of your life, where you're going, what you're doing. Because at the end of the day, people are really intentional with their priorities.
And when you're unintentional, you hurt people.
Exactly.
And you hurt yourself.
And you hurt your relationships.
Yes.
And so here's the thing. Here's sort of like the theme of this video. Why wouldn't we live intentionally for a God that so intentionally created us?
Holla, sister. Yes.
So here's the thing, guys. He literally knitted us together in our mom's womb. He knows how many hairs are on our head, which is like
Crazy.
Big deal,
Yeah.
right? He has our entire lifetime planned down to the second. And lastly, but the most important thing ever, is that he died with for every single one of us with so much intention behind it. And so I wanted to read Psalm 8, 3-4, just sort of to bring this home. It says, "When I look at the night sky and see the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars you set in place, what are mere mortals that you should think about them? Human beings that you should care for them. Yet you made them only a little lower than God and crowned them with glory and honor." And so, like I said, he has had you in mind since the beginning of time. He knew who you're gonna be. He knows what you're gonna be in the future. And so it's just super exciting to think about that.
And I think for the season of life both of us have been in recently, I mean, like, you started your senior year, I started college. We both experienced that really tough season of life where our grandmas were super sick and just everything that's been going on. Intentionality with God, like, he purposely did all of those things. So I feel like, especially with my grandma passing away a couple months ago, like, my family has gotten so much closer because of that. And like, I feel like I've really been able to grow my relationships out of that. And so I think it's so cool that God intentionally chose the time that he did for my grandma to be sick. And as hard as it was and as challenging as it is to continue to watch my family process that, it's super cool to be able to see the intentionality of God, like you talked about, behind that.
Right,
So.
right. And just the fact that he put us on like earth at this time. Like, we weren't, like, I'm not your age for a reason, you're not my age for a reason.
Right.
We're 1 year apart for a reason. It goes back to Esther. Maybe you were created for such a time as this. And so there is so much behind why we are here on this earth at this time. And so I like thinking about that because obviously this world is super crazy right about like, why can I not be my grandparents' age? Why can I not have lived through like the golden years? But he picked us to be here right now. So.
Right, and piggybacking off of that a little bit, intentionality presents itself in a way that a lot of people think being intentional, especially in your walk with God, means doing all of these things and building all of these relationships and being super focused on always actively doing something for God. And while that is true, I think, like it's important to do those things. Jesus also calls us to rest. If you look in the Bible, there are so many instances where he just he took a nap, or he took some time to be with his friends and his family. And sometimes that's just as important as being active in a community or in a church. And so it's important as you're working in this journey of being intentional and building those relationships, like Sammy said, to restore the concept of rest into your life. And I think for both of us, that is something we greatly struggle with. We're both working and going to school and doing all these super cool projects. And so finding time to just take a moment and listen to music or be in the quiet is super important.
Drive.
Yes, yes. So, what steps do you think we take in order to achieve intentionality in our life?
I think something that I'm currently struggling with right now, and I'm just gonna be super vulnerable, is like taking the time out of my day to spend like intentional time with God. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I feel like that hasn't been a super big priority right now, just because of busyness, which is so not an excuse. But just really like sitting there, listening to what He has to tell me. I think that is a major step that I personally need to take, and I know most of you might already do that. But
so we talked about this a little bit before we started filming, but so we do our glow nights every Friday night, and if you guys live in the area, you should definitely try and come. We have one this Friday at the Taylor's house at 7 o'clock. But at the last glow night, I sat down with Mr. Chad and had some really good conversations about just being still and listening to God. And so one thing he told me that really stuck with me and that I'm trying to implement into my life is exchanging the possibility of knowing for the presence of peace. And so I think that's something that's really good when you're talking about being intentional, is if you can accept the fact that you are never going to understand, and you can just give that to God and really focus on building your relationship with Him, it is going to bring so much peace to your life, which is something that a lot of us crave. I know I do. Like, I've struggled so much with anxiety since the beginning of COVID and just everything that's happened during this time, that peace is something that I've really struggled to achieve. I don't know about you.
Me too. Yeah.
Starting college in the fall and that kind of stuff. Like, it's a big thing.
It's a big thing. But, yeah.
So, how do you live intentionally? Like, what's something you do to be intentional?
I think something that I love to do is like being intentional with people, because I just feel like so many people point me to God, like you especially. But being intentional with friendships is such a big deal, because if you don't have intentionality, those friendships are just gonna drift away. You know what I'm saying? And so our relationship with God is the same thing. So if you're not intentionally reaching out to people, asking how they are, it's not gonna be a good, healthy relationship. And so I just see that in my relationship with people and my relationship with God. It could be as short as like, hey, how are you text. You're really good at those. But I think that is a big thing. But I think I just want you guys to remember, because you were created so intentionally, like you can live a life with so much purpose, and I don't want you guys to ever forget how valuable you are. Like I said, He legit knows every second of your life, from when you were born to when you're gonna die. He knows every single second what's gonna happen. He knows you inside and out, and He loves you, and He died for you. And so, because you have so much intention behind your life, I feel like it's important to pour that out onto others. So, yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
Do you think that, and I know you're probably not prepared for this, I didn't really say anything about this, but do you think that you can have an intentional identity that you create in Christ? Or do you think that that's something that is like gifted to you already and you don't get to have any say in that?
Well, I feel like God obviously like has everything planned out for you, right? But just because he has everything planned out doesn't mean that, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I feel like you put your own spin on things, you know what I'm saying? I feel like, I don't know.
It's a difficult thing.
That's a difficult thing. I mean,
I think it's important to, if you center yourself in Jesus and then build an intentional identity from there, then, like you said, you kind of get to put your own spin on things. But you make a very good point. I mean, like, God does know everything that is going to happen. And still, the really cool thing is he lets us make those bad decisions, and he lets us learn from
bad things happen to us.
Yes, he lets us learn from those mistakes, and that is an opportunity for you to grow. And so just because you're being intentional in your faith does not mean that storms won't come, doesn't mean that bad things aren't going to happen. I mean, you see some of the most intentional people in the world, or in the Bible. Yes, and I mean, you have Paul, who is so intentional, and like you said, building those relationships and reaching out to people, and he still, I mean, he was killed. Like, that's pretty terrible if you ask me. I just think that it's really cool that you can choose to be intentional. God does not make you, but he still intentionally loves us every single day.
It's really cool. I'm reading through Psalms and Proverbs right now, and it's like almost every single chapter always mentions how God is our protection. He's our rock and our fortress. Like, it's insane. Like, I didn't realize how many times it's in those books, but it's just cool to think about how he is not gonna let anything like horrible happen to us, but at the same time, like, it's like we have to go through those horrible things to like be with him, if that makes sense. It's a hard mix. Like, he is not gonna send anything our way that we can't handle.
I mean, for a lot of people, like, death is a very hard thing. Like, I struggle to gather that concept. Like, it's something that I just am not comfortable talking about, really. It scares me a lot, but you have to go through that to be physically present with Jesus in heaven. So I think that there's a lot of,
it's like kind of wishy-washy. It's kind of hard to like wrap your head around the fact that, like, because God loves us, like, bad things might happen to us, but that's just gonna bring us closer to him. So yeah, it's just like a hard mix, but
definitely agree.
Yep.
So your guys' challenge until we see you again, hopefully not 3 months from now, is just to focus on your intentionality, build those relationships, become active, find time to spend with you and Jesus and nobody else, but at the same time, make sure that you're building rest time into your life, because if you don't take time for yourself and to be in the silence and to sleep or go for a walk or just listen to a podcast or really even to just sit in the quiet and listen, you're never going to be able to fill those other areas with complete intentionality, because you're just going to be so exhausted all the time. So I don't think I have anything else.
I don't think I do either. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm so sorry it's been so long.
Yes, and we promise not to punk you in the next video. Again, we're pretty bad liars, so I'm sure you caught on from the beginning. Make sure that if you guys want to stay up to date, follow us on Instagram.
If you want to know what we're up to, go back and watch our Catch Up With Me videos. We made those before school started. So you guys can just sort of see why we've been so busy. It's not really an excuse, we're sorry. But
and then also make sure that you're following Glow Like Sarah on Instagram. We have this super cool thing coming up. Miss Kim put together, as well with the Hope FFA, and Mr. Chad and Libby, of course, pitched in a lot. A run, a Glow Like Sarah 5K, November 6th. The link is in the Glow Like Sarah Instagram bio. Make sure you sign up, whether you want to be a volunteer or participate. We're also having an after party. It's going to be super, super fun. You can also find information for Glow Nights there. Sammy and I, one of us or both of us, are at just about every one. We have lots of fun. So I think that's it, guys. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.